Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest children's books. This is the third in our series. It's called Brave Kids: Short Stories to Inspire Our Future World Changers. And this is volume 3, you guys. Before I introduce our authors to you today, there is a ginormous thank you due to Miss Kelly Kashula, who is the lead author of Brave Kids and the entire series. She's also the director of Brave Kids books. And once upon a time, when she came to me and said, "Laura, what about kids books?" And I'm like, "Well, if you do it, we can do it." And she's like, "Okay, I'll do it." That was a big moment for us because here we are with the third book in her collaborative series of short stories. This is an award-winning series already. It is phenomenal. Kelly, you are phenomenal. You are an incredibly talented writer, storyteller, illustrator, and this series deserves all the awards. So thank you for being in my world. So you guys, we have a few of our authors here today, and we're going to have a really great conversation about these chapters they wrote. Cooper Harrison is the founder of Conscious Creation Ministries. He's a hypnotherapist and Reiki practitioner, and he has written many books as well as this chapter. Kimberly Barrett uses her over 2 decades of experience to support and guide people on their soul's journey. And Samara Minicello is a trauma-informed advocate for children globally. Her work focuses on teaching children that happiness is a choice. And Samara, we're going to start this party with you today. Tell me, what's the most important thing you want our listeners to know about the power to turn failure into fuel?
Thank you, Laura. Yes, my chapter is chapter 14, and the power to turn failure into fuel is inspired by just the human piece of we all fail. The biggest thing I want everyone to take away from this is failure is a mindset. It's literally a mindset. You can only accept defeat on your own choice. So, I've personally been inspired by I learned the lesson of first attempt in learning, fail when I was younger, and it really reframed a lot of things for me. So I took that another step further in the story that I think will help inspire and help people feel better when they hit a wall and they feel like maybe they're stuck and they can't get out of it. So this will help them move forward for sure.
You know that feeling you get in your it's in my body when I feel it like, I just did something wrong. I just made a mistake. I just had a massive failure. And so it's in that moment of awareness, right, that everything changes. What do you want to tell us about that?
I agree with you. There's certainly that moment. I personally experience it in my gut. We experience it in different places somatically in our body. Um, I think, we all go through it, which is important to know. The really premise of my story around turning failure into fuel, I talked about first attempt in learning and then taking it a little further. So that's FAIL. But then the URE, the use is for understanding, and R could be for repairing and really coming up with a plan, and then E is for executing. And so the intent there, you can actually feel a shift in your body somatically to actually realize that you have the ability to fix anything that is put in front of you. You might need support, you might need additional things, but there's certainly a way that you can get out of it and make your body feel better.
Yes, Samara, thank you for kicking this interview off with this topic in such a great way. This is life-changing stuff. Imagine if we had these kinds of stories as a kid, learning and feeling those things for the first time and then being able to shift it in the moment. Oh my gosh. This is a big, big potatoes thing, I think. Samara, thank you so much for saying yes to this project and for being back, because this is a returning story, isn't it?
Yes, this is my third story about the same characters, just coming up with different challenges in life and working together to solve them. So super excited to be here. Thank you so much, Laura.
So, Kimberly, you're up next. Tell us what the most important thing you want our listeners to know about running with tigers. I want to run with tigers.
Isn't it a fun title?
It
Oh
is.
my goodness. Yeah. So this book, this chapter was just so much fun to write and really wanting to embrace a demographic that often gets looked over and, trying to show people to not judge a book by its cover and what some of those challenges of that demographic goes through and wanting to show courage and determination and perseverance of life's challenges. I think that that's something that I kind of carry over from my other books, actually, or even though they're not children's books, just that perseverance. Yeah,
We see with our eyes, and it's probably the first way we take life in, right? And we believe what we see, don't we? Like
yeah,
in Brave Healer Land, we learn to believe without seeing, because we know there's a lot of energy in the world that we can feel that we don't see. But if you were going to talk about that what you brought up, don't judge a book by its cover. If you see something, what's the next thing you want people to do aside from judge?
be curious. Be curious about who that person is, and what they have to offer. What possible connections can you make with somebody who may not fit the norm?
Curiosity is a superpower, isn't it?
It really is.
So I think we pick up judgment, we pick up those behaviors from the world around us. We hear and see other people in judgment and making comments about what they see. So I think the other piece of the curiosity might be something like, well, what if I don't think that way? Then what? Right? What do you want to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much of a well, what if again going back to tomorrow, what if I fail? You know? Well, what if you don't? There's always that other side. Well, I might not be able to make that friend. Well, you don't know unless you try. The answer is always going to be no unless you try. So, yeah.
I love that. These are game changing perspective shifts, y'all. Like everyone, every little one feels like these golden nuggets, some of which I wished I learned sooner in my life. Kimberly, thank you for saying yes to this and for being back as well. And um, just for all you put into your chapter.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure to be a part of this project.
So, Cooper, what's the most important thing you want our listeners to know about the little star that could shine?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I would say the most important thing that I would like the listeners, both the children that are receiving the readings and the parents, that what you say matters, what you think matters, and your self concept is one of the most important things that you can carry with yourself in this lifetime. And what people tell us sometimes doesn't define us either. And I want parents and kids alike, when they read this story, that their inner light can always shine no matter what the circumstances, no matter what the environment is. They can choose to radiate their own light into this world and help affect others in a positive manner. Uh, in their day-to-day life. So that's probably the most important message that came to me when I was writing this book, and I hope that it's received from the reader's side.
I love that we can pick up this book as an adult, parent, teacher, mentor, any of you modeling for kids, and we can read it to them, but the lessons are for the little kid in us too,
Yeah, the inner
which,
child.
yeah, which I love. It's a really, really powerful part of these books. Um, you said something about stepping up in your own, I'm just going to say self-esteem. If what do they say about adults that we're just kids walking around in a bigger body?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so like what else do you want to tell the adult who maybe is still working on that self-esteem?
Mm, that's a good question because I think we're all working on it, right? I think we're all working on that self-esteem and self-concept, including myself, and I got my own insecurities and flaws that I still work through on a daily basis. And you never have all the answers in life, and that's okay. It's okay to question things. It's okay to question yourself sometimes, but it's okay to take a leap of faith, even if you don't have all the answers and have all the ducks lined up in a row. Life is meant to be spontaneous at times, and we're meant to explore ourselves and explore this world that we live in, this physical realm that we live in. So, you know, always keep just tapping into self, asking the question why. Why did this life event happen? Why do I feel this way? Like there's always a connection of why we feel the way we feel that can come up when we're, children as adults, because that's an event that happened as a child in your life. So it's really just asking the question why we do what we do, we feel the way we feel, and then maybe, having empathy towards others and why they might do things that maybe you don't necessarily agree with, or maybe things that might have hurt your feelings or whatever. Those people have, their own life events that they went through. Um, and it's just creating empathy towards each other.
Thank you, Cooper. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
saying yes to this project and for being here to share today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blessing and an honor.
One other thing y'all are making me think about is I was doing some journaling over the weekend and I was in a little bit of a low place. This might sound low, but really it was very positive. And it was like, okay, end of my life, the tombstone says. And it ended up being one line. She taught them, and I mean my adult children, how to love themselves. And it's like that summed it up for me, like being able to give that to yourself. That's where everything starts, right? Including all that self-esteem stuff and the things we started talking about today. Um, these are these are big topics today, you guys. Kimberly, I'm going to come to you for this next question. How do you feel about writing for kids? What does this mean for you in a big picture way?
Oh, goodness. I have always had this fantastic imagination, this wonderful creative energy. And just about all of my friends are like, "Why aren't you a kindergarten teacher?" And it just never felt a calling to do that. I think if I was forced into that and it had to be my living, it would take the joy out of it. Whereas writing for kids, well, now that's something different. It's also for me to express my creativity, to express my imagination. I mean, the characters in this story are so real. They're living in my head. And, if we've got another Brave Kids coming out, I could probably take these characters and do another, 3 or 4 stories with them. So, so yeah, it's just been such a wonderful experience to write in a different genre and in a different way.
I love it. And you all did it so brilliantly. I'm going to just say a quick thank you to all three of you. Your stories are brilliant, and they pull you into your world, which is what they're meant to do, right? And I thank you all for taking the challenge, because if you haven't written for kids before, or even if you haven't written fiction before, this is a whole nother world. And a shout out back to Kelly for guiding you all through that process in such an incredible way, to make these words for kids come alive. You all did it. You all did it so well. Um, I love reading the stories. They're all for adults as well as kids, like we said before. So, okay, so Cooper, I'm going to come to you with the same question. How do you feel about writing for kids? What has it meant for you to do this?
Yeah, writing for kids is something I've never done before. It's always something I wanted to do, though. It's something that I don't know, I enjoyed just the thought of having an impact on children and not just adults, because most of the books that I've written from a creative standpoint have been for adults and the complex nature for adults. But writing for kids, because you have to create a topic that is so complex, but then you have to word it in an elementary way that a child can understand it. And then also that can be engaging for the parent to read to the child as well. So there's so many angles to it. Like you have to hit not just one demographic or one audience, you have to hit two, because you have to be able to cater to the adult and the child at the same time, which I love that. I love that challenge. And then having that impact in a child's life, because when we grew up having kids books read to us, whether it was like Dr. Seuss or um, the Giving Tree, those types of books we grew up with as kids, right? Having that impact for someone's child, where they can remember your story growing up and how it impacted the way they treated other people. I don't know. I just think that's such a cool, just life event for yourself, as a writer, but then like creating that for the reader at the same time.
I love listening to you talk about that. And thanks to both of you so far for answering the question. Samara is going to be next, but it's interesting to hear both of you talk about this process, especially if you've never done it before. It might feel scary a little bit, like, "Ooh, can I really do that?" And I haven't done it yet. I am a nonfiction writer, and I have not dabbled in fiction for adults or kids yet. So I got to hand it to you all for saying yes and going for it, and then again doing all the things Cooper was talking about so brilliantly. Yeah, amazing. This book. I know. I knew it in the last one. This book will win some awards. It's really phenomenal. Samara, same question for you. When you think about writing for kids, what does that mean for you?
Yeah, I started writing for kids in 2022. So all the writing that I do is trauma informed. It's actually directly related to um, lessons that I've learned and trauma informed modalities and different things that can help regulate your body, make you feel better in the moment, and ultimately realize that you do have a choice to move forward or not. That was my comment, your comment earlier in my introduction, as far as helping children realize that they have the choice to be happy. So I don't have the big imagination for the writing that Kimberly and Cooper probably have. Mine is more pointed, very specific to problems that I believe children really need help getting perspectives on. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from my writing over the years that what I write helps the child just as much as the adult at the same time. And it's lessons that we wish we knew when we were younger. So super inspired by that, super inspired to continue going down that trauma-informed angle to help children.
Yeah, we wish we knew when we were younger. You might have ESP'd my last question for all of you, which I will give you all in a minute. But you aren't just any people writing for kids. You all have devoted your lives to understanding this journey that we're on. And that makes you special authors for kids. And I just want to remind you of that. And I want to remind our listeners what a gift this book is, for all your backgrounds and where you've come from and your dedication. And if you haven't written for kids before, your commitment to figuring that out and putting your brilliance and your life experience, oh my gosh, into these beautiful stories. So, speaking of Samara's comment about what we wish we knew, Cooper, if you could talk to the younger you, what would your message of encouragement be?
To not let other people dim your dreams or dim your light. And I say that, I'll be vulnerable here. Growing up, I loved writing. I loved the creativity side, and part of the reason I wrote this children's chapter was I had a teacher in 8th grade that said I never would become a good writer. I would just be like an average writer. Imagine, like, because I was even, I guess 14 years old, right? So like I'm a kid, but I'm, on that precipice of becoming a young adult. And having a teacher tell you you can't do something was crazy to me, as a person that, really just gave their best to obviously, conform to the rules of writing and English and, all those things, right? But then also having the creativity to think outside the box. And I guess where I'm going with this is, don't, like, take feedback that's constructive to improve your skills, whether it's writing, whether it's, an athletic sport, whether it's just anything in life, literally anything in life. Take that constructive feedback, but don't let it become a detriment to your dreams and your aspirations. If you want to go to a certain level as a child, whether it's creatively, athletically, just anything you want to do in life with a purpose, don't let people try to bring that down. Always keep creating and always keep driving towards what you love doing as a child. Because, like, that's, you talked about earlier, we're kids in grown bodies. As grown-ups, we are more prone to the programs. As a hypnotherapist, I reprogram the subconscious because of we as kids growing up, we had people tell us we couldn't do certain things in life. So it's unraveling that and then reprogramming that to believe that we can do what we've always wanted to do as kids. Because growing up, if we stuck to just doing what we wanted to do as kids, life would be a lot different for just like a lot of adults, in my opinion. So, as a kid, take the constructive feedback that can improve your skills, but don't let it harm your dreams and aspirations. Keep going and keep leading with that love and just that creative energy that you can put into whatever work that it is and make that your purpose. So, and always show empathy towards others because you never know someone's situation. So that's probably my elongated 2 cents.
I like it. It's an important 2 cents. Um, if only all of the people around us as kids said the encouraging things versus the negative things. It blows my mind that you would be told something like that, so young. Right? Um, yeah, you guys are making sure kids know they can follow their dreams. It's important. Samara, how about you? If you could talk to the younger you, and you guys can pick any age, right? What would your message of encouragement be?
Yeah, I think my message of encouragement is that I would tell her that you are a force. Um, you need to go out and find your guides, find your people. Everything you do, put your heart into it, be kind, have integrity. When you master it, then pay it forward, and then you become a guide to someone else and help them move forward. So I think there's just this cyclical thing that, we're all here for a reason. We're breathing, we're here for a reason. Whether we can find it, sooner than later, but there will always be guides and people that will help us get to our next level. And yeah, so just just that keep going. And once you figure it out, you better pay it forward and help others.
Yes, I love that one too. I wished I had um, been told that sooner, to really seek out the the mentors, the guides around me. They were probably there, but
Mhm.
I wasn't aware of like actively seeking that and interacting and having conversations and reaching out to people, other than my parents. So I love that one so much. Thank
Yeah,
you.
my stories are, about Daniel and his mentor. So that's what they're all about, because I find it to be pretty much the most important thing. And exactly what you said, Laura, people don't even realize that there is that, chance. So maybe even some of the unlikely people, even like Kimberly said, curiosity, get to know people. You never know. There could be something that this person could teach you or influence you or inspire you to do that is unfathomable in the moment. It's amazing, unlimited possibilities there, but with mentors and guides in our life.
Yeah, we together we go a lot farther. Yes, love it. Okay, Kimberly, you're going to be closing us out on this idea. If you could talk to the younger you, what would your message of encouragement be?
To not let go of your magic, that your magic makes you special. To take all the stones that are thrown at you and use them to pave your way forward and not look back, because you are going to have a magnificent life. And all those dreams that you think are out of reach, you're gonna knock it out of the park. That trip to Egypt, oh yeah, nailed that. Writing books, even though your college professor said you should never write, yeah, I'm on my 3rd one. Nailed it. So yeah, take that magic that you have, believe in it, and use it to thrive.
I love that. And what a great, great thought and feel and energy to move out on today. You guys, I have to just give you a sneak peek. Of course, Brave Kids, short stories to inspire our future world changers. Oh my gosh, look at that amazing bear. Give you guys a little peek of the cover here as we wrap up today. Authors, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here to share it with everyone. You guys, this is way more than a book. This is a very generous community. Maybe you heard something today that gave you the goosebumps, or maybe you're curious and you have a question. Our authors are experts in their fields, and they're there to answer a question. They're there if you want to reach out and get some support. So drop down into the show notes. I've got them linked up with their websites and links. Please go explore all the amazing things that they're up to. And of course, we hope you hop over to Amazon today and grab your copy of this beautiful gift of a book. What kid do you know who would love this Brave Kids books? The whole series are going to be an incredible gift for your kids. Lastly, today, everyone, remember your words will change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.